Let me get all my little silenced stuff in the background, right? Welcome. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome. Today is day 5 of the 6-day series to look within on the book, Bringing Spirituality into Business. It is a guide to know yourself, grow yourself, and live life empowered. Yesterday, we talked about being, and I introduced you to 4 intelligence systems that we have access to. And today's topic is curiosity. And when you get really curious to those 4 intelligence systems, they start to unpack and unfold, and you start to experience them more deeply. So I feel like the curiosity is the process. It's the glue that pulls everything together and makes it all work seamlessly and effortlessly for you. So I'll just settle in, and if anybody has any questions during this presentation or this conversation, please comment, put your question in the chat box, and start by putting a capital Q in before your question so that when I stroll back through, I can see the questions quickly and easily. I did have one question that came through, so I will work on that at the end. But I want to start by just easing into what it means to be curious. The chapter in the book is towards the end. It's chapter 24. I think yesterday we were on chapter 10. So we've jumped from chapter 10 to 24, and there's a lot of meat and juice and beautiful, powerful information that will transform you along the way between 10 and 14. So this chapter I titled Expanding Through Curiosity, because I really do believe that curiosity is that really powerful, expansive process that takes you into seeing things more clearly, into really expanding into more of who you are, and really knowing and realizing more of your spiritual gifts, talents, and that guidance that comes from your spiritual intelligence, your intuition. You know, until you get curious, you're not being open to hearing the spiritual guidance. You're not being open to tapping into your intuition. To me, just asking the questions is me asking the universe to answer this for me. It isn't something I have to answer. You know, early on in my journey, I turned away from being curious. It was somewhere in elementary school when science taught us that we came from apes and not from God. And it was like me pushing away from science, saying, oh, I can't do this. Like I was just at a point of really buying into this whole invisible nature of there being something bigger than me, and trusting and believing in a power governing the whole life experience, right? And then science comes along and says, no, you've just evolved from the ape, right? Like I was just like, no. It was just crumbling my own awareness of what could be. And I want to say through elementary school, middle school, which we called junior high, and high school, I turned off my curiosity in a lot of areas. Not all, but a lot. And it wasn't until, as I'll share in the book, after high school, my curiosity got turned back on, and I started really tapping into it. So let me start by just sharing with you that expanding your curiosity can turn mundane tasks and activities into fun and bring you greater satisfaction, happiness, and even meaning to your life. So just ponder that thought for just a moment, that expanding your curiosity can turn your mundane tasks and activities into fun and bring you greater satisfaction, happiness, and even meaning to your life. So I start the chapter off by asking you, what are your thoughts about curiosity? By now, you're probably becoming more aware of your stories, your beliefs, and your judgments. There's value when you begin with a clear look at any underlying objectives or beliefs that you have about the word itself and the meaning that you currently hold and apply to it. So I ask you to pause for just a moment and ask yourself, does curiosity excite you? Do you feel expanded or contracted when you think of curiosity? And what does it mean? There's myths about curiosity, like curiosity killed the cat. God banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden because they ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge and evil. So their curiosity got them banned. Unconsciously, we could hold stories and beliefs about curiosity that could keep us from allowing it to grow us. And so I just ask you in the beginning of this chapter to look at where you are, knowing that you're not alone. This is simply an example of how we've all been conditioned by our environment, culture, and the stories passed down from generations. And that awareness to this is our true gift. And the real gift is in dismantling the myth and learning anew. It's in the curiosity about your beliefs that your true power and gifts of curiosity are realized. I was brought up and conditioned to believe that I needed to know everything. Teachers called on me when I didn't even raise my hand, expecting me to know the answer. Whether I knew it or had to guess, the teacher wanted a response. Right or wrong didn't matter. The initial energy and the emotions I was experiencing, I felt pressure because I didn't choose to respond. I go on to say that it's really important to be curious and not judgmental. And I talk about judgment in another chapter in the book in a big way, because it becomes a practice that I call non-judgment. And it's so critical and so important. I began to embrace curiosity in my early 20s, first in my own abilities when I took up running, and I watched the progress of my own skill, the duration and the distance increase as my curiosity took me further and further. The runner's high is real, and to feel the shift of that so-called second wind kick in, to ride the wave of effortless motion and ease as you observe your body and breath work together in the most harmonious unison, is seriously something to be experienced. Curiosity took me into sales. Sitting behind a desk all day was starting to tell my body, this wasn't for me. I wanted more. I wanted more variety, freedom, and variation to my days. Once I latched onto the idea of sales, there was no turning back. Curiosity was all I needed. Once in the position, I found myself curious every day. Who, when, where? They were all different and unique from morning to afternoon every day. Years later, motherhood sparked my curiosity in a whole new way. While parenting doesn't come with an owner's manual, I got curious and asked, what if I do know what to do? What if the so-called owner's manual to parenting was encoded in my cells and DNA? What if I had access to knowledge and wisdom that I needed to be a great mom? I had to believe that the life did not give us children with no knowledge and resources to tend to them. I was always curious, as if leaning in to that empty space of not knowing and trusting that the answers would come. And they did. In the 1990s, I got fired from a job. I was shocked, or better said, I was devastated. It rocked my world and it took me off course for quite a while. As I reflect back, things could have quickly spiraled into a whole new chapter had I just begun to get curious once again. It's amazing how long we can stay attached to our pain when our world gets massively disrupted. I carried this devastation for much longer than I care to admit. Fast forward to 2020, the shutdowns, restrictions, and quickly changing environment, which was a shock for all. Although I also felt the massive disruption, I actually felt okay, as I knew I had the power to step back and take a bigger picture view of what was going on and how to best use this time. To me, it was an indication of my growth and my evolution that had been going on for the last several decades. Asking myself, what if this is good, not bad, had always been one of the most valuable things I could do. I had learned the value in looking at a situation from multiple perspectives, as if I had the power to create space around the situation and sit in that space without giving judgment to my experience, emotions, and concerns. Please don't think for a moment that I saw the pandemic as a good thing, but knowing I couldn't fight the reality of what is, was most important to me. Working with my current reality was the best way for my new focus, and getting curious, as you'll soon see, is part of the process. There's no greater time than when we're pushed out of our comfort zone for curiosity to show us its true value and potential. It's in the moments of the unknown in uncharted waters that this one process becomes the valuable, irreplaceable tool that it is to our growth. So what is curiosity? It's the C in my ABCs. It's the one process that you need to apply to really expand and grow into knowing yourself, growing yourself, and living your life empowered. It lets you ask the question, what would I love? It allows you to pause before applying meaning to something. It allows wisdom and guidance to come to you, through you, as you refrain from your past knowing and remain open to future potential. Curiosity is defined as a need, thirst, or desire for knowledge, for more. The concept of curiosity is central to motivation. Curiosity is the process for success. It's the fastest path to divine magic, and it's the quotient that we call the CQ, the curiosity quotient, and it's as important as intelligence. Curiosity says, I don't know. It says, show me. Curiosity is the one process that activates divine knowledge and insight. It's an invitation to allow higher guidance, intuition, and deeper knowing into your awareness. Curiosity is the fuel for discovery, inquiry, and learning. Curiosity means the ability and habit to apply a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more. Curious people try new things, ask questions, search for answers, relish new information, and make connections, all while actively experiencing and making sense of the world. Much like empathy and self-awareness, curiosity is a proven and useful leadership skill. Until recently, curiosity had been a struggle for many leaders to integrate into their leadership approach. Curiosity is being open and asking questions. You use smart, strategic, thoughtful, and targeted questions to get information, to see more, understand more fully, and allow yourself greater insight. Apply curiosity as your number one process, and you'll tend to express more empathy because you'll prefer asking questions instead of reacting with your own opinion. Apply curiosity, and you'll be held in high regard as one who values another's point of view, shows respect, and makes others feel welcome. Use this process to engage with your team, to allow others to feel valued and included, and to create harmony and respect in the workplace. Curiosity is an essential leadership process. I say process because a process is a series of small steps or actions that are taken in order to achieve an end result. The difference between a skill and a process is that a skill is a capacity to do something well. Skills are usually acquired and learned as opposed to abilities, which are often thought of as innate, while a process is a series of steps or events to produce a result or desired outcome. Curiosity is a process that leads one to greater awareness, understanding, a bigger picture, and often exactly what is needed, insight. Curious mind learns about people, connects better with others, and inspires innovative thinking. Are you starting to feel the power behind curiosity? You know, Albert Einstein said, "I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious." His curiosity took him through, 10,000 tries in creating the light bulb? His curiosity kept him in the game. His curiosity kept him learning new information. I go on, I'm going to skip a few pages here, but I go on to talk about the neuroscience behind curiosity. And let me just tell you this neuroscience behind curiosity should really motivate you for getting curious. Curiosity is one of the oldest cognitive pathways, which means 1, it's well ingrained in our brains, and 2, it works well. Neuroscience tells us that curiosity and extrinsic motivation activate and recruit the same brain area. They're both influenced by the reward process, the dopamine response that makes us feel good when we get something we desire, triggered the need to do more and thus get more done. Curiosity can arise from connecting past experiences to your current knowledge. And when you get a match, which is to understand something, your brain rewards you with dopamine. To lead and motivate teams through trust demands a lot of energy. Leaders can use this information in powerful ways, right? The more curiosity you trigger, the more motivation you'll receive. Quite a strong benefit of curiosity for leaders, wouldn't you say? So this explains why successful organizations share their corporate vision with their employees, get them on board and invite them to get curious about their own vision and how it aligns with the organization. I hope you're starting to see the win, win, win here for all. Dopamine is linked to the process of curiosity as it's responsible for assigning and retaining the reward values of the information gained. Research suggests higher amounts of dopamine is released when the reward is unknown and the stimulus is unfamiliar, compared to activations of dopamine when the stimulus is familiar. If that isn't a driving force behind all this, I don't know what is. In the questions at the end of the chapter, I take you in to really looking at more deeply how you can get curious. We go into the benefits of curiosity. It helps you survive. Curious people are happier. Curiosity boosts achievement. It can expand our empathy. It strengthens our relationships. It improves health and well-being. And these are just a few of the benefits of curiosity. There's more in here. This chapter's not done. I think I have 6 or 8 more pages to this chapter before we get to the end. So know that this is a powerful component. I take you through probably 3 pages of going deeper into curiosity in the workbook, in the companion workbook, which is an add-on. It doesn't come with the book. If you want the deeper journey into this, get the companion workbook. It's only available through my website. You can find links to it all the way through where I talk about bringing spirituality into business. In the companion workbook, I take you through asking questions as to where can you bring more curiosity? When? How will you do it? Where? And why are you doing it? So until you really get clear on your when, you're going to start bringing more curiosity in, what areas of life, how you're going to do it, and how you're going to apply it and why you're doing it, you don't fully know the impact of what you're doing and how beneficial it's going to be. Keep in mind, we all want a dopamine release, right? What we really enjoy in life is when we get those dopamine releases, right? They bring that burst of bliss, that burst of joy, happiness into our life, right? Not that we need it to survive, but boy, does it fuel us and power us forward in big ways. So let me check in and see if there are any questions on the live. And if there are, please, like I say, start with the big Q beforehand. I see a lot of thumbs up and happy faces, check marks, and sending love my way. I appreciate all that. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. So let's get back to the questions I did have. I had one from Albert, and he said, I'm seeing that in the workplace, I need to use curiosity in ways to allow me to work smarter, not harder. And that's a huge ability that we have when we work in organizations and we bring curiosity into our department, right? Into everybody's reality. The entire organization is starting to think smarter, not harder. And oftentimes we were onboarded into a position and taught how the person before us did things. That may not be the best way for you. You could have an innate ability to do this in a streamlined way. So how can you streamline a task? How can you be more proactive and efficient in your day? And this is something that we need to bring forth in the group discussions, in your little pod, your little group, your little workbook group internally in your organization. And this is why I say, join me in the book club, but start your own group to bring to the book club, because I want you to take this deeper into your group and your circle and how you yourself can use this in the workforce to empower your teams, to move you forward in ways you've never imagined possible. When everybody in your department is starting to get curious about how they can work more efficiently, how they could streamline tasks, how they could better respond to emails and answer every question in that email without touching that email another time or 2 or 3 or 4. I've been working with organizations who are telling me that people aren't thinking, they aren't focused, they aren't responding to every question in that email to even thoroughly answer and respond to it with clarity and thoroughness, that they're having to come back and touch it 2, 3, 4, 5 times before they've answered all the questions, before they've thoroughly responded to what was asked of them. We have the ability to focus. You've been getting clearer and clearer and clearer on your abilities through awareness, through being the observer, through all of the skills you've been learning up until now in the book and in this 6-day live, right? So this portion of curiosity is specifically designed to take you even further on where you are. It takes you deeper in relationships. Why? Because you get to observe what you see, and you see your partner or your coworker seems frustrated. Instead of being defensive and judgmental, you get curious. You can wonder what happened to cause them this shift in their day. You can be empathetic and compassionate, and you can ask them if everything's okay. Sometimes that's all we need is someone to see that we're upset and to allow ourselves that moment to share our upset and shift and shift. So sometimes, we don't act on those things. We avoid them like the plague. And oftentimes that's the worst thing to do, because that person then sits in that energy. And I don't care what kind of energy you bring to the party, all of it's contagious. All of it acts like a virus through the organization to spread. So we're here to help one another. We're here to empower one another. But until we show that compassion and caring, we don't give others the opportunity to come back into their power. So same with parenting. If you come home from work or home from the office or home from shopping, wherever you were, and you have a child that's upset, check in with them and see if everything's okay. Getting angry, telling them to change their attitude, that often doesn't work. Our old ways of doing things are being dismantled right before our eyes. If you haven't noticed it, take 3 steps back and look around. Countries, leaders leaving positions, resigning, assassinations. We just lost our queen. Everything around the world is changing. Government from the top down is being affected. New leadership is going to be stepping into roles everywhere. I live in the US, and our system is dysfunctioning right now. We have the biggest divide I've ever seen in our country. And we need to get curious, not judgmental. We need to get curious. But the other question I had came from Samantha when she asked about getting curious to her health and how she can get more curious as to how she feels, what's affecting her. And I said, that's a really great question. As we bring workplace wellness front and center into the office, we're raising awareness to the fact that we control our stress. We control how we feel, but we're also controlled by what we eat. And oftentimes, if you get a real sluggish point to your day, it's important to get curious to what you ate earlier that might be having an effect. Maybe it's pulling your blood sugar down. Maybe you ate some donuts for breakfast. And I only say this because this is what I noticed in my 30s. I couldn't eat those donuts for breakfast. I couldn't partake of the party in the break room when someone brought donuts or bagels in, because that sugar, that starch, acted as a high to energize me for an hour. But then I'd crash and burn. It'd be a drop in my blood sugar that caused me to just be struggling with energy. So if that's you, look at what you're eating, get curious, because we're always getting signals from our body, from our emotions, from what we're thinking, and from our intuition, our inner guidance, right? Guiding us every step of the way. So the other thing I brought up was your body is sending you signals all the time. If you're constantly getting headaches, there's a sign. Get curious. Get curious. You know, do you have the ability to take a few minute break, a pause from everything? And unless you're driving or leading a meeting or a classroom, right, or running a cash register or serving tables, right, you don't always have the ability to pause right this moment and take a moment for you. But you can find one, you can craft one, you can create one, you can create a pause. And the pause doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be lengthy. It can be as simple as closing your laptop and pushing yourself away from your desk, clearing your thoughts, close your eyes, and letting yourself recenter and get balanced. Focus on your breath and bring yourself back home to your inner power, where you are whole and complete. We don't always have that ability in the flash, but we do have the ability to craft a moment to allow us to come back home. So get curious. Get curious on what you can do to empower you back into your power, back into all that you are. And get curious as to what your body's telling you, what your emotions are telling you, and how you can streamline your success, how you can craft new patterns, new habits that help you to work smarter, not harder. In my trainings with leadership, one of the greatest things I teach them is to slow down, to speed up. And it's exactly what I just shared with you here, the power behind the pause. When you pause, you release all that tension, anxiety, frustration, everything that's been building up in you to bottleneck things. And as you release it, you come forth empowered with a clean slate, ready to tackle what's in front of you with clarity, with confidence, and with courage. I'm going to leave you on that note because there's a lot here to unpack. And I really hope you'll join me in this journey, because it really is about empowering you. And what the world needs now is more empowered leaders to empower others. Because when we take our power back, we stop following what other people say and learn for ourselves, get curious. What's your truth? What's good for you? What's right for you? You know, I have children that are vegan, and I had to question, is that a path for me? It's not. But until I questioned it, until I got curious, until I explored, and for me, I tend to put on experiments. I try to eat that way for a while and see how I feel. We know what we're drawn to, but put on the experiments for you. Don't just follow someone else's aim because they say it's what's right or wrong. What's right for you, only you know. No one can tell you what's right for you. And I'm here to help you get curious about bringing that forward. Curiosity is the greatest thing that leaders can bring forth to empower their people, to get curious and inquire and evoke from them. When I got certified in coaching, I realized that there were several different ways you could coach someone. That directive was certainly one path of coaching. You could direct people to what they needed to see or do or be or have. But all of my inner strength and growth came from human behavior. It came from human design, understanding that each and every one of us is unique in our blueprint, our thumbprint for who we are. That, like Clifton Strengths training shows you that you have strengths that are uniquely yours, right? And in knowing that, there was no directive. Who was I to direct anyone? My coaching is evocative. I believe you already have the knowledge within you. whether it's conscious or unconscious, I'm here to help you bring it to consciousness and bring it forth. I'm here to help you realize your strengths, your gifts, your talents, and to bring them forth in the workplace, in the relationships, in your health, in your well-being, and in your time and money freedom. If you're not in the book club, please join me. It'll be the most powerful 7 months that you've ever seen. It'll take you to new levels of knowing yourself more deeply, more intimately, growing yourself, and truly stepping into and integrating all that you've learned into all that you are to truly live your life empowered. I hope you'll join me. You can get the book, the companion workbook, and the book club all on my website. If you're hearing this in August or September, coupon code with love will let you check out at the book club for only $1, putting that gift on me, giving me the gift, allowing you to receive my gift of love, right? To join for only $1. You will need the book. So you'll have to get I don't do the digital version of the book on my website. I only do the paperback. I invite you to do the paperback because I really think there's value in holding it and highlighting pages and passages and making notes and that kind of thing. But come on board with me. We start September 13th in the book club. That's next Tuesday. If you order today, you have time to get it in your hands before Tuesday. So let's get started and let's start changing, empowering people from the inside out.